In the video, How Can I Find Out About Risk and Protective Factors for Youth in My Area? Part 1, we explored the steps needed to find local risk and protective factor data from the Minnesota Department of Education's Data and Analytics portal. In this video, we'll walk through the process of finding local level risk and protective factor data associated with suicidal ideation and attempt from the Substance Use in Minnesota website, which can be found at sumn.org. Importantly, on the Minnesota Department of Health's suicide prevention webpage, there's a PDF of a brief that lists all of the risk and protective factors from the Minnesota Student Survey that are associated with suicidal ideation and attempt, as well as the strength of that association for each factor. So on the SUMN website, click on Data by Topic, and you'll find that there's a whole category for shared risk and protective factors. And by shared risk and protective factors, we mean those risk factors that are associated with higher rates of youth alcohol, tobacco, and drug use, but also higher rates of things like depression, anxiety, and suicidal ideation. So these are factors that are shared between both substance use prevention efforts and suicide prevention efforts. Conversely, those protective factors are one that are associated with lower rates of substance use and suicidal ideation. If you click to expand the list of risk factors, you'll note that there are some risk factors that are not from the Minnesota Student Survey, such as children arrested for serious crime or determined maltreatment cases. These are still great sources of data and wonderful to use for planning, but the items from the Minnesota Student Survey allow us to dig in a little bit deeper and take a look at how strongly each of the factors are associated with suicidal ideation. If you click on that first Minnesota Student Survey item of household drug use, you can see that there are options. The by grade and gender option will allow you to take a look at data down to the county level. Unlike the Minnesota Department of Education portal, this site does not drill down to the district level. Data by grade, race, and ethnicity and gender can be found for the state as a whole and for the metro and non-metro areas of the state. And then the data that are available by sexual orientation are only available at the state level. Since we're taking a look at local level factors, I'm going to click on grade and gender. And what this allows you to do is to select to see all counties or pick your county. In this case, we'll check Beltrami. It also lets you pick the region that your county's in if it would be helpful to see those regional comparisons as well as the state of Minnesota. So I went ahead and selected Northwest, which is where Beltrami lives, and the state. Once you complete submit, you'll get a table showing the data that are available on household drug use, which is an adverse childhood experience item. In the table, you'll see that, again, you can compare the county to the region to the state. The cells are blank for fifth graders. That's because the adverse childhood experience items were removed from the level 1 survey that fifth graders get in 2016. And then you can simply use the toolbar to narrow down the table. So let's say you only want to take a look at 2019 data and you're only concerned about high school students, so not 5th and 8th graders. So using that toolbar and clicking update will slim down that table to help you more quickly find the data that you're looking for. We're going to go back to data by topic and take a look at those shared risk and protective factors, and this time bring up the resilience or protective factors. Again, if you watched the part 1 video with data from the Minnesota Department of Education website, I wanted to make note of a few differences. So on the MDE portal, if you select the school category, you can find data on educational engagement, but it's going to be presented in a somewhat different way here. In this case, we're going to pick on Roseau County. So here for educational engagement, the SUMN website shows you a composite measure. About the indicator below the table shows you the 6 items from the Minnesota Student Survey that get rolled up into the measure of educational engagement. So again, on the MDE portal, you're going to be able to find the individual percentages for how often students care about doing well in school, how often they pay attention in class. Whereas the percentages here show you an overall encompassing measure of educational engagement. Going back to data by topic, And again, taking a look at those resilience factors, similar to educational engagement, there are 3 measures from the Search Institute's developmental assets: empowerment, social competency, and positive identity. So we'll take a look at empowerment. Take a look at Winona County. So again, if you visit the Minnesota Department of Education portal to look for local data on risk and protective factors, you'll find individual level percentages for students feeling valued and appreciated, being included in family tasks and decisions, and given useful roles and responsibilities. Whereas the SUMN website will show you a composite measure of empowerment for students in your district. One last peek at the resilience factors is activity participation. Going back to Beltrami County. So this website will provide the percentage of students who are participating in 1 to 5 pro-social activities in a typical week outside of the school day. Similar to the other composite measures, the Minnesota Department of Education portal will show you percentages for each activity type, whether that's sports, leadership activities, or artistic lessons. There are 8 different types of activities that the survey asks about. The reason that we share data on SUMN for the percentage of students who are participating in 1 to 5 activities outside of the school day is that we find that students who are participating in 0 activities are at greater risk for suicidal ideation and attempt, but also students who report participating in 6, 7, or 8 activities in a typical week outside of the school day. We see that they're also at greater risk for suicidal ideation and attempt. Like the Minnesota Department of Education website, we encourage you to dig around in this website and see what you can find and compare the local risk and protective factors from that brief on the suicide prevention webpage at the Department of Health to all the various risk and resilience measures that you can find on SUMN. Stop.